Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're tackling a topic that's crucial for well-being, especially for those on the autism spectrum.
Right.
It's self-preservation.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to really dig deep into why it's so important
Okay.
and how to actually put it into practice.
Yeah.
And get this.
What?
Our sources from Cheap ABA reveal something really interesting.
Okay.
Some autistic individuals are so good at blending in,
Yeah.
they might not even realize they're on the spectrum.
Wow.
It's called masking or camouflaging, and it plays a big role in how self-preservation works for them.
Absolutely. And you know what's fascinating about self-preservation
It's that.
is that it's not just about staying physically safe.
Right.
It's also about protecting your emotional and mental well-being,
Uh-huh.
which can be uniquely challenging for people on the spectrum.
Okay, so let's break that down a little bit.
Yeah.
What makes self-preservation more difficult for autistic individuals?
Where many autistic individuals experience the world in a heightened way.
Yeah.
Imagine walking into a crowded, noisy coffee shop.
Okay.
The lights are buzzing,
Uh,
the conversations are overlapping,
okay.
the espresso machine is hissing.
Yeah.
For many, it's just background noise.
Right.
But for someone with sensory sensitivities,
Yeah.
it can feel like an all-out assault on their senses.
I can only imagine how draining that must be.
Yeah.
And it's not just sensory overload.
No.
Right.
No, it's not.
Our sources also mention social anxiety
Huh?
and something called executive function difficulties.
Exactly.
So what are those?
So navigating social situations can be incredibly demanding,
Right.
especially when you're trying to decipher
Uh-huh.
unspoken rules and expectations.
Yeah.
And then there are executive functions,
Okay.
those mental processes that help us plan,
Mm-hmm.
organize, and manage our time.
Okay.
These can be challenging for anyone.
All right.
But for autistic individuals,
Yeah.
they can make everyday tasks feel overwhelming.
Yeah, it's starting to become clear how all of these challenges can impact self-preservation.
Absolutely.
So
Think of it this way.
okay.
If you're constantly bombarded with sensory input,
Yeah.
struggling to navigate social situations,
Uh-huh.
and finding it difficult to manage your time and energy,
Right.
it's going to be incredibly hard to prioritize your well-being.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
And you mentioned masking earlier.
Yeah.
How does that fit into all of this?
So masking or camouflaging
Uh-huh.
is when autistic individuals consciously or unconsciously suppress their natural behaviors and mannerisms
Okay.
to fit in.
Right.
They might force eye contact,
Uh-huh.
mimic social cues,
Right.
or try to appear normal,
Yeah.
even though it's incredibly draining.
That sounds exhausting.
It is.
It's like putting on a performance all the time.
Exactly. And while it might help someone navigate certain social situations,
Uh-huh.
it comes at a cost.
Yeah. What's the cost?
Long-term masking can lead to burnout, anxiety, and even identity issues.
Wow.
It can make it hard to know who you truly are and what you really need.
So masking can actually hinder self-preservation in the long run.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
a survival mechanism, but it's not a sustainable solution.
Okay, so we've got this perfect storm.
Yeah,
Sensory overload, social anxiety, executive function challenges, and masking,
right.
all making it harder for artistic individuals to prioritize their well-being.
Yeah.
It's starting to feel like a recipe for burnout.
Unfortunately, you're right. And this is where things can get serious.
Okay, how so?
Neglecting self-preservation can have a ripple effect impacting not just your mood,
Mm-hmm.
but also your physical and mental health.
It's all connected, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Even Autism Speaks has resources highlighting the link between autism and mental health challenges.
It's crucial to understand that self-preservation isn't a luxury.
Right.
It's a necessity,
Okay.
especially for those navigating the world with autism.
So what can be done? Are there practical strategies that can help?
Absolutely. Cheap ABA offers some great insights on this.
Okay, let's hear them.
The first step is understanding that self-preservation is an active process.
Oh, okay.
It's about making conscious choices to protect your well-being
So it's about putting yourself first.
in a healthy way. Yes.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing your needs and taking steps to meet them.
I like where this is going. So where do we start?
One of the most important things is learning to set boundaries.
Boundaries. I hear that word a lot, but I'm not always sure what it means in practice.
Sure.
Can you elaborate on that?
Setting boundaries is about deciding what you're comfortable with
Okay.
and communicating that clearly to others.
Uh-huh.
It's about saying no without guilt,
Right.
protecting your time and energy.
So if I know that loud concerts are going to leave me feeling completely drained,
Yeah,
it's okay to politely decline an invitation, even if my friends are all going.
exactly. You're not obligated to do things that make you feel uncomfortable or overwhelmed.
Okay.
Your well-being comes first. And it's not selfish to prioritize that.
That's a really important point. I
Right.
think a lot of people, myself included, struggle with feeling guilty when they say no.
It's a common struggle, but learning to set boundaries is a crucial part of self-preservation.
Yeah.
It's about respecting your own needs as much as you respect the needs of others.
Okay. Boundaries. Got it. What else can folks do to ramp up their self-preservation game?
This is where self-care comes in.
Ooh, I like this part.
And I'm not just talking about bubble baths and face masks,
Okay.
although those can be lovely too.
Right, of course.
Self-care for autistic individuals should be targeted and intentional. It's about understanding your unique sensitivities
Uh-huh.
and finding activities that genuinely help you recharge and regulate.
So it's about figuring out what works for you individually.
Exactly. For some, it might be spending time in nature,
Okay.
which studies show can lower stress hormones and promote a sense of calm.
Interesting.
For others, it might be listening to music, which can have a powerful effect on the brain, releasing dopamine and reducing cortisol levels.
So we're not just talking about feeling good. There's actual science behind this.
Absolutely. Engaging in activities that bring you joy and relaxation isn't just a luxury.
Right.
It's a way to actively counteract the stress and overload that can come with autism.
It's like having a toolbox of strategies to combat those unique challenges.
Precisely. And another powerful tool in that toolbox is the simple act of taking breaks.
Breaks. I feel like we're always being told to hustle and grind,
Yeah.
that taking breaks is somehow lazy.
That's a harmful misconception. Our brains aren't designed to be on all the time.
Right.
They need periods of rest and recovery to function optimally.
Okay.
This is especially true for autistic individuals
Uh-huh.
who are often processing information on a deeper level
Okay.
and expending more energy to navigate a world that isn't always accommodating.
So those little moments of stepping away from the computer,
Yes.
going for a walk, or just closing your eyes and taking a few deep breaths, those actually make a difference.
Absolutely. They allow your nervous system to reset, reduce cortisol levels,
Wow.
and improve focus and attention. Think of it like hitting the refresh button on your brain.
I love that analogy. I'm definitely going to try to be more mindful of taking breaks throughout the day.
I encourage it. Even 5 minutes here and there can make a world of difference.
Wow. Okay, so boundaries, self-care, taking breaks, this is all great stuff.
Yeah.
What else can help folks prioritize their well-being?
The next key strategy is all about communication.
Okay.
For autistic individuals, clearly communicating their needs and preferences can be life-changing.
I can see how that would be empowering.
Yeah.
But what if someone has always struggled to speak up for themselves?
Yes.
What if they're used to putting others' needs before their own?
It's a common challenge.
Right.
But like any skill, communication can be learned and practiced.
Okay.
It starts with understanding that you deserve to be heard
Uh-huh.
and that your needs are valid.
Okay, so how do we start flexing those communication muscles?
One helpful tip is to practice being direct and specific.
Okay.
Instead of saying, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed,
Yeah.
you could say, I need a few minutes of quiet time to recharge.
Okay.
This leaves less room for misinterpretation
Right.
and clearly conveys what you need.
That's a great example. It takes the guesswork out of it.
Exactly. Another tip is to use visual aids if that helps you communicate more effectively.
Okay.
This could be anything from a written note to a picture card to a visual schedule.
That's a great point. We don't all communicate in the same way,
Right.
and it's important to find what works best for you.
Absolutely. And remember, communicating your needs isn't about being demanding or difficult.
Right.
It's about taking care of yourself
Uh-huh.
and ensuring you can participate in the world in a way that feels safe and authentic.
Okay, so we've got boundaries, self-care, taking breaks, and communication,
Yes.
all essential strategies for self-preservation. Is there anything else we should add to our toolbox?
One final tool, and perhaps the most important one of all, is self-compassion.
Self-compassion. Tell me more about why that's so crucial.
Well, many autistic individuals face constant self-doubt and criticism,
Oh,
especially if they've internalized negative messages about being different.
right.
This can be incredibly damaging to their self-esteem
Yeah.
and make it even harder to prioritize their well-being.
It's like that inner voice we all have.
Yeah.
But for autistic individuals, it can be extra harsh and critical.
That's right. And self-compassion is about challenging that negative self-talk
Uh-huh.
and replacing it with kindness, understanding, and acceptance.
Okay.
It's about treating yourself with the same care and concern that you would offer to a loved one.
I'm starting to see how all of these strategies work together.
Yeah.
Setting boundaries helps protect your energy.
Yeah.
Self-care provides opportunities to recharge.
Yes.
Communication allows you to express your needs. And self-compassion creates a supportive internal environment. It's like building a fortress of well-being from the inside out.
That's a great way to put it. And that inner fortress is essential for navigating the external world,
Right.
especially for those who experience it in a way that's often misunderstood.
This has been such an insightful conversation so far.
I agree.
We've covered so much ground, but there's even more to explore.
Oh,
We'll be back soon to dive into the concept of creating supportive environments.
okay.
It's all about recognizing that self-preservation isn't just an individual effort.
Yeah,
It's also about creating a world that values and celebrates neurodiversity.
absolutely.
Stay tuned.
Can't wait.
Welcome back.
Great to be back.
Now that we have a better understanding of the unique challenges autistic individuals face when it comes to self-preservation
Right.
and some of those personal strategies,
Uh-huh.
let's zoom out
Oh, yeah.
and look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
How can we create environments that support well-being for neurodivergent individuals?
That's a critical question.
Right.
And thankfully, we have some insights from the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network to guide us.
Okay.
They emphasize the importance of autistic-friendly environments, spaces designed with neurodiversity in mind.
Autistic-friendly environments. I love that term.
Yeah.
It sounds so much more welcoming than just accommodations.
Right.
So what are some key elements that make an environment truly autistic-friendly?
It starts with recognizing that autistic individuals often have different sensory needs
Okay.
and processing styles. An autistic-friendly environment takes those differences into account
Right.
and minimizes potential triggers that could lead to sensory overload.
So it's not just about being quiet.
Right. It's about understanding the nuances of sensory input.
Okay.
Imagine a workplace where the lighting is carefully chosen to avoid harsh fluorescent bulbs.
Okay.
The acoustics are designed to minimize echoing,
Right.
and there are designated quiet spaces for employees to retreat to when they need a break from sensory stimulation.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And it's not just about physical spaces, right?
Yeah, it's not.
Social interactions and communication styles play a huge role, too.
Absolutely. An autistic-friendly environment would prioritize clear and direct communication.
Okay, yeah.
Avoiding ambiguity, sarcasm, or idioms,
Right.
that might be difficult to interpret literally.
Uh-huh.
It would also be understanding of different social cues and body language.
It's about recognizing that not everyone communicates or interacts in the same way.
Right.
And creating a space where those differences are respected and valued.
You got it.
Yeah.
For example, instead of relying solely on verbal instructions,
Uh-huh.
an artistic-friendly environment might incorporate visual aids like schedules, diagrams, or
Here.
flowcharts
Yeah.
to provide clear and predictable information.
Those are fantastic examples. It makes me think about how classrooms could be transformed to be more inclusive for autistic students.
Right.
Imagine a classroom where sensory breaks are built into the schedule,
Yeah.
fidget toys are readily available, and communication is adapted to meet individual needs.
Precisely. And the benefits extend beyond the autistic community.
Okay, how so?
Creating autistic-friendly environments benefits everyone
Uh-huh.
by fostering a culture of inclusivity, empathy, and understanding.
That's such an important point.
Yeah.
When we design spaces with neurodiversity in mind, we create a more welcoming and accessible world for everyone.
Right.
It makes me think about all the times I felt overwhelmed by sensory overload in a crowded store,
Yeah.
or struggled to decipher a vague email.
I know what you mean.
We could all benefit from more clarity and predictability in our environments.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It's about shifting our perspective from accommodating differences to designing for diversity.
I love that. It's about recognizing that neurodiversity isn't something to be fixed or hidden.
Right.
It's something to be celebrated and integrated into the fabric of our society.
Exactly. And it all ties back to self-preservation.
Okay.
When autistic individuals feel safe and supported in their environment,
Uh-huh.
it reduces stress and anxiety,
Yeah.
freeing up their energy to focus on other aspects of their well-being.
It's like that saying, it takes a village. Self-preservation isn't just an individual responsibility.
Right.
It's a collective effort to create a world that is truly inclusive and supportive of everyone's needs.
And remember, creating autistic-friendly environments isn't just about grand gestures
Okay.
or sweeping policy changes.
Uh-huh.
It starts with small, everyday actions.
Like what? Give me some examples. I'm ready to put this knowledge into action.
It could be as simple as being mindful of the language you use,
Okay.
checking in with someone to make sure they understand what you're saying, or offering a quiet space for someone who's feeling overwhelmed.
So it's about practicing empathy and being attentive to the needs of others.
Exactly. And it's about being willing to learn and adapt.
Okay.
If someone tells you they need something different, believe them
Mm-hmm.
and try your best to honor their request.
I'm starting to see how these individual strategies for self-preservation that we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
setting boundaries, practicing self-care,
Yes.
communicating needs,
Absolutely.
can be amplified when they're supported by an environment that understands and values neurodiversity.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's a symbiotic relationship.
Right.
The individual strategies empower autistic individuals to take care of themselves, while autistic-friendly environments provide the external support they need to thrive.
This has been so eye-opening. I'm already starting to think differently about the spaces I inhabit
That's great.
and how I can contribute to making them more inclusive.
That's fantastic. And remember, creating a more inclusive world isn't just about benefiting autistic individuals.
Right.
It's about creating a better experience for everyone.
I'm excited to keep exploring this topic.
Yeah.
And to see how we can collectively create a world that celebrates neurodiversity and empowers everyone to prioritize their well-being. But for now, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned today and how we can apply it to our own lives.
What insights have resonated with you the most?
Yeah, what small steps can you take to create more supportive environments for yourself and for others?
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Connect with us on social media or leave a comment on our website.
And as always, stay curious and keep diving deep. Wow, as we wrap up our deep dive into autism and self-preservation,
Yeah.
I'm struck by just how interconnected everything is.
Uh-huh.
We've gone from those unique challenges
Right.
to personal strategies
Yeah.
and then zooming out to that broader environment.
It is pretty amazing.
It's clear that supporting well-being for neurodivergent individuals requires a multifaceted approach.
Absolutely. And, it really highlights a key takeaway from this whole deep dive.
What's that?
Self-preservation isn't just about individual actions.
Right.
It's about creating a culture that embraces neurodiversity.
Yes, completely. It's about recognizing that different ways of thinking and processing and interacting with the world. They're not deficits. They're valuable aspects of human diversity.
Precisely. And when we create environments that are truly inclusive, we unlock the potential for everyone to thrive.
Thinking back to our sources,
Yeah.
it's clear that CHEAP ABA and the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network are really doing incredible work
They are.
to promote understanding and acceptance of autism.
Yeah.
Their insights have been invaluable for this deep dive.
They have. Their commitment to providing accessible resources and advocating for the needs of the autistic community is really making a difference.
I'm also reflecting on how this whole conversation about self-preservation goes beyond just the autistic community, these strategies that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Setting boundaries, practicing self-care, communicating needs, cultivating self-compassion.
Right.
These are valuable for everyone.
They are.
Regardless of neurodiversity.
That's so true in a world that often prioritizes busyness and productivity over well-being. These strategies are essential for maintaining balance and protecting our mental, emotional, and physical health.
It's like we all need to give ourselves permission to prioritize our own needs and create space for rest and rejuvenation.
Absolutely. And that includes challenging societal norms that stigmatize self-care
Right.
or equate it with fitness.
Well said.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listeners with this thought.
Okay.
What if we all approached the world with a little more understanding, a little more empathy, and a little more willingness to embrace difference?
What if we all made a conscious effort to create spaces where everyone,
Yeah.
regardless of how they experience the world, feels seen, heard, and valued?
That's a beautiful vision, and I believe it's a vision worth striving for.
Me too.
So as you go about your day, dear listener,
Yeah.
remember these insights we've shared, the strategies we've explored,
Right.
and the importance of creating a more inclusive world.
And remember to be kind to yourself. You deserve to prioritize your well-being and to live a life that feels authentic and fulfilling.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into autism and self-preservation. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.